I'd like to call this May meeting of the RSU 25 School Board to order. Would you please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Josh, would you please take attendance?
I will. Mr. Foster.
I am here.
Mr. Burgess.
Here.
Mrs. Foster.
Here.
Mr. Frazier.
Here.
Mr. Nealon.
Here.
Mr. Wentworth.
Here.
Mrs. Aruda.
Here.
And Ms. Atherton Dow.
Here.
This is the time for public participation. If you are here and would like to publicly participate, you may do so now at our wonderful podium up front. If you are not and are at home but would still like to publicly participate, you may do so by emailing for public comment at publiccomment@rsu25.org, or you can phone in with your public comment at 307-8099. Seeing as how we do not have a line, we will move on to adjustments to the agenda.
I have two adjustments that we need to add. Kelly Warren to L1 for resignations under food service, and L2 policies IJNDB-R and policy IJNDB-F. Those are just as omissions that need to be in here.
Okay. I would look for approval of the meeting minutes for our April meeting.
I move that we approve the April 28, 2026 minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Correspondence and communications.
I have no correspondence communications. Actually, I take that back. I do have one. I received a text message a week ago from Saturday after our robotics team got back from the world competition, which we know that they did a phenomenal job while they were there, finishing 8th in the world. The Silvernet family reached out to Coach Boynton just to congratulate them, and obviously they've been a sponsor, and then also let them know that he was going to be making another donation to the robotics program, specifically just to make sure that they have what they need moving forward in terms of for their trips going on, specifically make sure that they could fund their trips to continue to send all their students to the world.
That's fantastic.
So, it wasn't a set amount, probably in the $20,000 to $25,000 range is what it's looking at, but so that's what I have for
Very generous.
Yes.
Board chair report. We have had a great spring, nearing the end of my daughter's senior year. We had, as you've just heard, a great robotics season. We are having a good track season. And under softball, I just want to let you know, my daughter went to go see a softball game for the first time in her life because she wanted to cheer for them. She called us in the middle of the rain and she said, I believe the game is just about done. Can you come get me? And I said, what inning is it in? Well, it's the 4th inning. So that's how much we know about softball.
But she was done, it sounds
But she had fun. And they had a wonderful prom. The prom went very well. Thank you for everyone who was involved. And that is just my board chair report. Committee reports. We've got curriculum.
Yeah, we had a pretty robust curriculum meeting. I'll give you a little update here. Jen did an Aspire update in between multiple meetings she was in. And she's going to share takeaways with us probably by email from her June stuff that she's wrapping up. She didn't have that for us. She did share us with us the local history facts and destinations of this, celebration of the 250th quiz that she's put together, which was cute. I've read a few of them. I haven't gone through it all, but and then we actually this is first because we flip-flop these, but Denise Smith was in. She did a report back on a new class that we had approved last year, the asynchronous class for. Oh, I didn't bring my sticker.
Oh, I've got it.
Yeah, what is it called again?
Nature through skills and stories.
Nature through skills and stories. So it's an asynchronous class, which is kind of cool for kids because asynchronous work is like, you need to know how to do that as an adult, right? So they had to do these these reading assignments, and they had required activities in the field. They were learning wilderness skills, and they had even a final where they had to everybody had to propose a hike, and they had to vote on one, and they all went on it. And they had to think about logistics and make sure they were safe and all this stuff. So it was a really cool class, and she's got more ideas for next year, so it was a good success. And then Christina gave us this riveting proposal about the ESEA preliminary allocations and proposed projects. It was just like the preliminary monies we're gonna get that she has to share, but we actually don't even have the final money yet, so. And then Beth and Andy talked about VMS scheduling structure update. They're gonna change that a little bit next year to try and make things flow a little bit better. Make sure people aren't getting pulled out of their regular classes so that we can maybe get off tier 3. They're gonna have a little bit of choice with their unified arts, which is kind of cool, within the structure of what the state of Maine mandates. So, and then Josh didn't give us any district updates because he was not there, but there weren't really any. And we do have a meeting planned for June 4th. It is the day before graduation. We're thinking that probably won't happen unless absolutely necessary, so pay attention to your email.
Any questions for Krista? Finance Committee met right before this meeting. We discussed the budget, which we are in very good shape. And we discussed the food service, which we are also still in very good shape. Our over/under on the food service did close a little bit because we made a last big food purchase for the year. But other than that, we're still in the black, which
It's the first time so far.
it's like the first time so far. Definitely knock on wood because we do not want to jinx them. Any questions for finance? All right, policy.
Policy committee, we did meet, bring forth a number of policies this evening. One is in reference to some of the litigation that's been going on around the state around First Amendment participation rights at board meetings. The other is the state mandated cell phones, bell to bell not being present, to try to bring those online before next year. Some of those are a little bit convoluted as we moved we eliminated some policies to make room to make these policies come in. Josh will have more information on that as we move forward.
As long as you keep me in line with our massive crowds, we should be in good
You should be
shape.
fine.
Yeah.
All right. Any other questions for policy? Facilities and grounds?
We did not meet.
HCTC?
We did not meet, and I don't believe we'll be meeting in June either because the year is coming to an end.
Well, I'll try to remember that, not call on you.
Maybe we don't meet in August or July.
We have no old business. Under new business, we have some resignations and retirements.
Yes, we have, so I will start with two resignations. One we received last week and then one we received just this afternoon. So Willa Nath is going to be leaving us. She's been in a computer science media specialist position. Has done a phenomenal job for us. We're really going to miss her. She's just moving to Seattle. I believe it is, right? Seattle, Washington, and that's a long commute.
It's fine.
So we understand, but she's really loved the job. She's done a really nice job. So whoever does take this over is going to have a lot of stuff in place for them, and it should be a seamless transition. And then the other one, the addition for the rest of Kelly Warren, she's going to be finishing up the school year, but will not be coming back to food service and also need school next year. And then we have Karen Robertson, who is in ed tech for us, the special education department, and then Kathy Andrews is retiring. I just want to be clear that this is going to be a retire, we will be seeing her name bringing back for a rehire in a couple months from now. So, and it will be one at that time that I highly recommend that we do, has been a great employee for us. So those are the resignations and retirements.
I would look for a motion to accept the resignations and retirements as a block.
I move that we accept the resignation/retirements as a block with regret.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? It's unanimous, thank you. Now it's time for nominations.
So we have two nominations, both of them are here this evening. So first we have Elizabeth Connors, who is here. She is going to be joining the middle school staff, teaching 8th grade math. Elizabeth comes to us from, currently is in RSU 24, right now is teaching math at Summer High School, and that's also taught at Herman High School, and I'm gonna get the middle school wrong, that you were at before. Did you teach at the middle school?
I was in Hodgson.
Hodgson, thank you.
Mill Pond School, yeah.
So, so welcome, we look forward to having her. And then a familiar face that we have, Mr. Sapri is coming back to us. Most of you probably remember Seth, I do when he was a freshman in my math class. I can't remember all the things that I was saying to him, most of them were nice, I think. But Seth taught for us for 6 years at the middle school, taught science and social studies for us, and took a break from education. Has been a dad for the last several years, and now he's getting back to education. We'll be joining the high school science department. We'll be teaching to our freshmen.
Excellent. Well, I would look for a motion to nominate these two wonderful candidates.
Well, I move that we accept the nominations of the two as listed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? As unanimous. Congratulations.
Congratulations, welcome.
We appreciate you coming to visit us, but you don't know.
I don't know why you would.
You can say.
I'm so proud of you.
You have to babysit.
Now we have first readings of policies.
All right, so we have, after a hiatus from policy for the last several months, we do have a number of policies here. Some of these are actually ones that we're looking to reduce or remove completely and then recode, and I'll try to explain it as we go through. The first one is BEDH, which is public comment at school board meetings. We talked a little bit about this at the last board meeting, and David kind of referenced during his report that there was a school district in Maine that faced a lawsuit in regard to the administration of their public comment policy. That public comment policy that they had is very close to a template that most schools have been given to them from either through MSMA or lawyers. So in response to the ruling that the judge made at the time, it really was looking at being unclear about when in public comment, the previous policy said that you couldn't use profane, indecent, or obscene language. And there really was just no clarity around what that means. So that they're saying because there's no clarity, the board chair would be saying, okay, they'd be limiting someone's public comment, saying that it's obscene. But Tom's definition of obscene may be different than a different board chair's. And so there was just a lot of ambiguity there. So they're saying that there could be the potential for limiting someone's free speech by not having the clarity around those. So you will see some pretty jargony, lawyerish definitions of what obscene and vulgar are in there. They also follow like the guidelines for cable television we decided at the policy committee meeting, because it is obscene if it happens before 10 p.m. After 10 p.m. it's not obscene. And if you watch cable television, things will get bleeped out on cable television until 10 o'clock, and then after 10 o'clock, certain words do not get bleeped out.
I'm totally watching after.
So this is supposed to be, make it clear for us, because I'm ready to as clear as mud.
I know
It's hard,
still not
isn't
that clear, but,
We wrestled around with this.
yeah. So again, I think the idea is what they really wanted to do when crafting this is still give school boards a forum that, because quite often there are students, there are children, at these meetings. So to try to provide a space that was acceptable for all people there, but at the same time do not violate free speech. And they feel, at least at this point, and who knows if this gets challenged, still again, even just with the clarity, and I use the word clarity very loosely here, because again, it's, something that you have to look at, that you can end someone's public comment time if they do violate what is laid out there in terms of their definition. We've been very fortunate that when we do have public comment, people do it the right way. They speak to it. There were a couple of options that came out in this template. One was, do we want to prioritize members from our community first? And that was something that was in our previous policy, and we stuck with that. So this is a full rewrite just because there would have been so much crossing out. I just thought it would have been too confusing because they just changed the order in a lot of it. But there's a lot of the stuff in our previous policy that still remains in this one. 30-minute maximum for a public comment period, 3 minutes per person. We can have them sign up to speak to certain, and list what topics they're gonna be speaking about. But this policy does allow us to prioritize people that live in our communities first. And then if there's time afterwards, people who do not live in the full communities still have time for public comment. We just thought that made sense. If we're gonna only have a limited amount of time, we might as well prioritize the people.
Is this just for the regular monthly meeting, or is this for all?
So it has language in there for special meetings as well. Special meetings, public comment has to be on the agenda item for the special meeting itself.
So like, I am thinking, and this isn't gonna happen, but I'm thinking back to when the Orland School closure was. That meeting was a lot longer than a half hour. And we wanted to hear people's public comments, so we weren't gonna slam the door on people at 30 minutes.
I almost think the football one went longer than that
Yeah,
too.
football
And we
Well, it might have
really hear
gone
everybody.
longer too. So if we have something that, was where we really
Yeah, and we,
wanted something, do we have the flexibility to make it, maybe we have to make it a special meeting?
yeah, and I think typically sometimes that would happen, and I'm guessing, and I don't remember the Orland one, if that was a special meeting, I would assume that it probably
That was a
was.
special kind of that was
Yeah, and
about
it
that
says
particular
regular
topic.
business
It
meeting,
was a
so
public,
you
it
could
was a
always
public meeting.
open another meeting if you needed to
We
as
could.
well.
And we have, the board chair has the flexibility to extend public comment. If we got to 30 minutes and there's 2 people left on the list, and, we feel like it's,
Yep, that's the last part of it.
what the
time.
30-minute really just protects is it allows the board to finish their business, right? So you have an agenda, of items that you need to get through, and what it can allow, well, we had to have protection, and there is, that public comment doesn't go on for 2 hours, everybody's tired, then we have to have the meeting, we don't finish any of the business. It should just be a tool.
But that is the primary reason for the board meeting, is for us to do our business.
Yeah, I don't wanna get anybody in trouble, particularly myself. So
Yeah.
if, I'm not very good at being the guy that says, now we stop.
Yeah.
I'm a lot better at being the guy that lets somebody ramble on forever and listen to everything, and they say, well, isn't that nice, thank you for your
But I would
comment."
think as the board chair, you could appoint someone to like time people at
Yeah,
the time.
we've done that. We did that.
And if we had we had a big meeting, like if we were, and just to be clear, we're not even looking at doing this, so I don't wanna start any rumors or get people worked up, but if we were to be closing a school, for example, and we were gonna have, expect a lot of comment, we would have it set up, I would have, one of our staff members would be signing people in for public comment, would be grouping them by topic, right, so
It would
that.
probably just be about that, it wouldn't be a regular business.
Right,
meeting
and
either.
I would be
Orland
pretty
meeting was
conscientious if
a
it was a regular.
Public meeting as opposed to a school board meeting.
Right.
I believe
More
Bangor
community.
doing something like that.
They are. Yeah, but like budget workshops are ones that we have public comments at,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We never have.
They're not very
have that.
extensive.
Right, but that public comment would have to be just about the budget. You could come in and start having public comment about anything, where the regular meeting, public comment's open, right? So
Right.
if they want to come in and just talk about our math curriculum, the math curriculum's not on the agenda, that's allowable at a regular meeting. And I think we would just be smart. We knew, like, in football, for example, that was a regular meeting. The rest of the agenda was fairly light, if I remember, because we knew that was gonna take a lot of time, so we went.
Was that an agenda item?
It was an agenda item, but we took comments
Right.
at public comment, and then, yes.
It seems like it would be possible to have some anticipation to when it would be a big turnout and when there would really be an issue and that hopefully it wouldn't be sprung on us at a regular meeting.
And again, the other, what I tried to be really clear, like, when we're putting this in here, the goal is not to try to restrict people. Like, ideally, which has been great, we've never had to use really any of the stuff that's in here. If someone comes in and has a comment and, again, they're not supposed to be asking questions of me, really, all questions have to go to the board chair. We've been able to have a much more, open type of style with that, and I think it works well until it doesn't, right? So we have to have a structure when, I think to what Natalie was talking about, we can anticipate usually when something might be a little more controversial, but we probably want to have a little more structure involved.
Natalie, I don't remember much public comment in the past 3 years, so.
Yeah, there hasn't been a whole lot.
No.
No,
But I feel like we'd have a sense of when there was controversy.
Oh, for sure.
there was a topic about, a piece of ammunition that was found either on the school grounds or very near school grounds.
That was a special meeting though.
Yeah, and there was some comment that got a little spicy in that, but I think just from how it worked out, I think it was better to let those people have their say and
Absolutely,
and be done instead of trying to silence anybody and because they said something that might possibly have been a before or after 10 p.m. item.
Yeah. And again, I think we need to stress, you folks as board members, certainly as superintendent, that this policy is really just to ensure that we're able to get the work of the board done, right? Allow, just to make sure you can get to your agenda and have it be a place where it's okay to disagree, but be able to do so cordially and in an environment that's productive and conducive.
It's there if we need it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if this is gonna come again up to us as we get different iterations of it.
And
But
that lawsuit has not moved all the way through the court system.
no, it's not.
Yeah,
I mean,
this is gonna be a
just
work in progress.
And there are people going to other boards, like in other states and stuff, that are just kind of coming in to cause chaos, and then it's a good way to
And not just other states, just
regulate
not too
that.
far from here. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, but coming from other
Oh,
states,
coming
like
from-
2 other states, and I mean, not even just in our state or like all over the place, it's
Yeah.
ludicrous.
Yeah.
So,
That's good. I mean, I feel like this is one that we do not want to deviate because it has been wrapped up in litigation and lawyers are looking at this closely to make sure they're
Yeah.
interpreting or trying to interpret what that litigation or the results for that has come from. So I would say the policy committee, we didn't spend a lot of time on trying to finagle this a little bit. We pretty much just took it and then looked at the options and say, okay, which one makes best?
Well, I guess that's why I'm asking the question to you guys on the spicy language thing. It's been my feeling that I'm a big enough boy and I can handle somebody saying something that's kind of nasty. Because sometimes people are upset and they just gotta get something off their chest, and I feel it's better to just have it be done with and have that be over with instead of making it fester. But that's just me.
I think,
And what I'm afraid, and hopefully I misunderstood this, but I don't wanna set a situation where because I let Team A get away with a certain spicy word, and then Team B is going whole hog on something that I tell them, you really kinda gotta calm it down, but then I get us all in trouble because I played favorites with somebody. Is there a potential of that?
I don't think so, Tom, because I think when you look at the definitions in there of
yeah, it's pretty specific, shameful, morbid, unwholesome fascination with sex, nudity, excretory function.
it's not a real low bar. I mean, like,
Like it's.
No, but I mean, my bar is really low. You can do anything, I don't really care. It isn't gonna bother me. It's the volume.
Yeah.
It's like if somebody is really upset and they say something, off the cuff, I say, you're at school, kind of grow up. I'm okay. If somebody now has got a diatribe that they're going on and on and on and on about this thing, well, now it's we gotta kind of shut this down. But if I let one go, do I have to be like the gatekeeper of this thing of, oh, no, that word had 4 letters in it, you can't say that, Do I have to shut people down all the time?
I think we have to strive to be consistent as much as
Okay,
possible.
so-
That's where we're
I have
trying
to
to
start to be Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, but profanity is not the threshold here.
Okay.
And I think there is
Yeah,
some,
it
there's some.
doesn't really even say anything about profanity, honestly.
No, we were
Like,
talking in the
It's kind of
meeting,
weird
though.
stuff that somebody would be bringing up.
It sort of has to do with I think it has more to do with personal shaming and things like it's against a person. It's not about the language specifically. It's like saying things that are hurtful towards another person.
Like defamatory statements more.
The nice thing is what we
Yeah,
can do, specifically for chairs, for all 4 members, there are work. So people we can actually just zoom into to walk us through that, of what that would look like and.
Okay.
So I will.
Yeah, maybe that would be
That'll be
helpful
good
for me to
information.
understand, because the last thing I wanna do is cause trouble because
No, absolutely. But yeah, I can set that up.
All right.
So that's the public comment one. The next ones are all related. So we currently have cell phone use in school policies. Those are JCFK and then a set of rules of enforcement, which is JCFK-R. The new cell phone bell-to-bell legislation and policy that came out with that through SMA is coded JICJ. So my first recommendation that out of this is that we abandon our old coding, bring in the new coding. And the main reason for that is as other policies come up or get adopted, they reference, there are legal references that come in there. We'll say JICJ, and then if we don't make the right cross-reference to ours, we would be just constantly battling that.
And this is a law anyway, so, right?
Right, but the policy itself will have its own code separate, but that's not really written in the law, but everybody has their own, the same codes, and if we deviate from that, it just kind of causes a little bit of issues. And our old policy and the new policy are very, very similar, but again, it's similar to the public comment one where I was gonna be doing a lot of crossing out and moving stuff around. And I think it would just been more overwhelming and confusing to see red lines and words. So my recommendation is that we abandon the old policies, both of them, and they combine into one policy, which is JICJ. The big thing is, and we took the biggest steps both at the middle school and the high school this past year, where cell phones are not out the majority of the day, middle school at all. At the high school, they had times, Mr. Ward had worked with his staff, and students about very specific times when cell phones were allowable, passing time, break, and lunch. The new legislation has made that illegal. So they've taken that ability out of our hands. So from beginning bell to end bell, cell phones are not to be out carried. And cell phones are not just cell phones. There are personal electronic devices. So through the policy, you're gonna see the abbreviation PED. We're not talking about performance enhancing drugs. We're talking about personal electronic devices. So smartwatches, cell phones, tablets, their own personal laptops actually fall within this because they could be messaging, they could be doing other things that are not covered underneath our cybersecurity stuff. So cell phones, personal electronic devices, those are all one thing and they're all covered inside this one policy.
And that includes smartwatches too, right?
Yeah. So as I said in my report, what really is, what makes it a PED is it has to have either a cellular connection or a wireless internet connection of some sort. So if it has one of those two things, it's a personal electronic device and it is not allowable during the school day. So we don't have to worry about all the different, like in our old policy, we had pagers and we had MP3 players and we had CD players, laser pointers, like we had all of these weird devices in there that we tried to cover that were really pertinent at the time. Now it is, we are just focused on cellular connectivity and wireless internet connectivity. If it has those two things,
They're allowed to.
it's not allowed. So it's basically our previous policy with that change of identifying the devices with a definition, and then it has very specific bell-to-bell language in there that you'll see. So from beginning bell to the end of the bell, There's no wiggle room in between. There are exceptions. Those exceptions are specific to school-approved plans, and those school-approved plans are individual health plans. So if you have to have your phone for a glucose monitor, for a diabetic, that's allowable, and that will be covered underneath an IHP. Now, someone who has their cell phone for their glucose monitor does not give them free reign to be surfing on the internet or texting. They still have to adhere to their code of conduct rules, but they can have the cell phone on them and can be checking it, obviously, for that medical purpose. Multilingual learners, so if we have language learners through 504 plan, IEP, or ESL, they have to have devices for those that are very specific inside of one of those three plans. Those are allowable. Again, just because they have an IEP that allows them to have a device that does not give them free reign for the use of that device. The IEP does not cover gaming on their cell phone. This is what it says, make sure none of that language is any IEP, that's all restricted. So, again, the policy is pretty straightforward. This is one that has been vetted by lawyers pretty heavily, just because there's a lot of eyes and scrutiny on it because of the legislative process that went into it. And we've taken that, we modified it a little bit, just to fit our language and our needs. So that is JICJ, again, replacing two of our existing policies combined into one. Does that make sense? Questions on the cell phone? One specifically? Okay, the last two, IJNDB-R, the student computer and internet use rules. This one I did mark up. You'll see that there was changes to it. The big thing is in there, we had technology coordinator was the old title. I changed that to director of technology just to make sure it fits our terms in there. That policy was very prevalent with the word laptop. We don't have just laptops inside our school. We have tablets. We have changed all that language to personal electronic devices, just so it's consistent with our other policy. And then there's a whole section in there, G, about private their own personal computer use. That is not allowable anymore by law, so that does not need to exist. So that you used to be able to say, okay, and at the high school, I think we have about 30 people, is what we determined, that bring their own laptop in. They just happen to like their laptop, in most cases, better than they like our laptop. We have them fill out a form, they sign off that they're gonna follow all our rules, and then we had to search it, we can. That's what IJNDB-F is, it's that form for personal laptop use. Since they can't do it, we don't need that form saying that they can't use it anymore. That's been taken off. So that's why we are gonna sunset that policy. And the other one, I just basically got rid of G because they can't have their personal laptop, and then change the language to everything else.
Could I ask if you guys would want to consider under number 2.4, under prohibited uses?
Which one? Dash R?
Yes, one here.
Okay.
Under number 2, prohibited, and then number 4, under the number 2, plagiarism. There's a whole new way to do plagiarism, and we're not even referencing.
So, I actually had it, and I don't know if Mr. Morrow can hear me, he's in the back. There, Mr. Morrow, you come out for a second? We're on time delay, so, right, all right.
You need to tell the chairs.
Did you hear the question?
I heard something about plagiarism as a concern.
Yeah.
Could you repeat
So
the
if
question for me?
artificial intelligence is not referenced, and then I'm assuming that's what you were speaking
Yeah.
to, so, I know we are waiting on some artificial intelligence specific policy language that we're being told is coming out. I haven't heard the latest update on that. Have you in your group?
That has been modified repeatedly in the tech industry, or the K-12 tech space nationally. There's lots of school districts and schools individually that have developed their own policies. We take it under our existing software and computer use policy. We don't have specific because it changes so often. So to name what it is or how it works or the methodologies, we'd be in policy every time. As specifically to plagiarism, it's very interesting because we will be working with curriculum next year. I know Christina and I have talked about it all year to introduce artificial intelligence, how to cite your work, how to use it in your work legitimately, and also do some sort of guideline when it can and cannot be used inside of our programs.
Okay, so that's a work in process.
It'll be a curriculum drive. It's something that was on our table this year. Mrs. Hall decided she had some other activities this year, so we've postponed it a little bit. We have been working with our staff. We ran a workshop monthly throughout the year. Staff could join us one session, multiple sessions, talk about tools that are out there, vet tools, talk about how it works, so we can educate students, staff, and coworkers.
So the tack that we've taken right now with all things AI is to do it through the student handbook and our code of conduct that way, as opposed to specifically just addressing it through plagiarism. I know Aaron, in his, specifically at the high school where it's probably the most prevalent, but the English department really took that on partway through last year and then this year, and really trying to develop like good uses of AI, bad uses of AI. So, I mean, I think we can reference it here. I just,
If it's in the works, we can update it once we get what the works are.
And it
I'm
seems like
fine
it
with that. I
could fit
just-
in
I just-
nicely.
I didn't know if we were even in the works.
Yeah.
But now we're in the works.
okay.
Yeah, because it just says students may not represent, as their own work, any materials obtained on the internet. It doesn't reference AI specifically, but I think that could be easily added, and then, because then it says when internet sources are used, it could be sources or, programs are used.
I just want to bring up a good point. The internet is where we think of AI existing, and now it's on just about every device as well. So,
Yeah,
see, that's one of the changes over the last 6 months is now it's embedded everywhere.
yeah,
It's,
you don't
it's like
even-
already there.
When
So,
you download Chrome, it's now on your computer. It doesn't have to go to the internet first.
yeah.
And I think what we're learning, eventually we're gonna have to make a conscious decision is, do we go the policy route? Like having a straight AI policy, which some people are doing, that will be modified every,
Quarter at this point.
yeah, I mean, with the new updates to what AI is doing.
Yeah.
Or do we take a more general, through our student handbook in terms of, kind of addressing it as a behavior issue?
If we're working on it in curriculum,
well, not yet, but we will be.
but if we're working there and we're working on how this is actually going to be applied in the classroom, I'm good with that, because we're going to need to know how to use this to some degree.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's just, we're gonna have to come up with some sort of how this is being used. And hopefully that person isn't going to be me, because I don't have the faintest idea about it, so.
We'll do workshops. We'll bring you up to snuff.
Yeah, good. No, I think it's good.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I know there was a lot of talking on my part about those policies, and like changing codes and getting rid of ones, but, I think the policies themselves are solid and puts us in a good space.
Is everyone okay with comment, or do we have some other questions that we have on any of these policies that we'd like to address? Okay. Would we want to, offer them up as a block?
Yeah, I have a motion.
Go right ahead.
No, I said, I move that we send forward, the first reading of the four policies listed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed?
Just because it's a stupid law. Don't support any of it.
Would you want to take a specific one, or
Oh, no. This is just.
just not like all?
This
This is just on principle.
My soapbox is that we had policies, we worked with our kids, we involved everyone to get a better system than the stupid law that they passed. So just,
Oh,
you know, it's just I'll just vote no on principle, because the state is actively making our education worse by butting into what we already had.
okay. All right, then that is one opposed. Perfect. Second reading of policy, there is none. Consideration to reduce a 1 FTE K-8 teaching position to a 1/2 FTE high school.
These are all reductions, they're separate reductions.
Okay.
Did you bring
This
your
is-
glasses?
No, I didn't. we're good here. Consideration to reduce one FTE K-8 teaching position, a 0.5 FTE high school music position, a 1 FTE student support contracted services, and a 0.5 FTE educational technician position.
Proud of you.
These are all reductions.
These are all reductions. So I tried to do it all in one post. So through the budget process, these are all the positions that we chose to reduce to get to our budget to where it is at 1.76%. Again, these are all done through attrition.
Can you explain what attrition is for
So
another?
people like who has retired, we feel like we don't need to fill it. We have the elementary school position, that 1 FTE K-8 teaching position, is because we don't have the numbers. And we've kind of talked about this as we continue to have groups of 3, we're not gonna need as many elementary school teachers, but just through movement, people moving on, like, nobody lost their job, even though it looks like we're cutting a lot, we're still keeping our people here. The only one, the contracted service one, that was the student support service here at the high school, Barb Ames, she retired, we're getting rid of that contracted service with the town. And then the 0.5 FTE ed tech position at the Jewett School is being reduced. We have ACAP that's providing us with an ed tech that will be working in those programs. So we were able to reduce it that way. And again, the high school music position, just as a reminder, Mark Neslusen retired and the GT. Our music teacher, we're going back to the model that we had before, where the high school music teacher will be taking over the GT music piece. Mr. Hatch will be doing that and teaching music here the rest of the time. So we're combining that back into one full-time position as opposed to 1.5. But rather than do 4 different agenda items, these are all just strictly the ones that came out of the budget process that we chose to reduce.
Well, this is wordy, but I'll make a motion. I move that we reduce 1 FTE K-8 teaching position, a 0.5 FTE high school music position, 1 FTE student support contracted service, and a 0.5 FTE educational technician position.
Second.
You have a motion and a second? Any discussion?
No discussion.
All those in favor?
Thanks, Abby.
That is unanimous, thank you. Next, we have consideration to reduce a 0.2 FTE special education counselor and add a 0.4 FTE elementary school counselor.
So this is, these next couple of years, a little bit of a shell game that we've played here. But we just have to take the formal action to make sure we have the positions match up correctly so that we can move people around. Currently, we have a 0.8 FTE special education counselor that works for us. We were actually able to have that be a full-time position for this year because we didn't fill a couple of our positions early on. We had some extra money and we had a need, so we were able to provide that extra day. Basically, instead of having 4 days a week, we were able to get it for 5 days a week within our budget. But we are going to be shifting, we know that we have this need for some counseling support at the Miles Lane and primarily at the Miles Lane School. There will be some at the Jewett School as well. One of the hurdles for that is the EPS formula in terms of how they code all of our employees. Our district social worker counts as a school counselor in the EPS formula, even though they're not doing school counselor activities. Mrs. Woods brought this up earlier in the year, and it really was a great idea. We could shift the people that we have around, so we could take our school district worker and move half of her position into special education, local entitlement. That does not, because it's not funded through the EPS formula, doesn't hurt our ratio there. And we're swapping that with the special education counselor that, again, didn't hurt us, and moving that into, and by hurt us, I just mean on the funding, on the revenue side, and move that position into the regular ed counselor. So we moved 0.5 counselor out and 0.4, I'm sorry, counselor in, and that is where our swap came from, if that makes sense. I know on here you see 0.2 moving, that's going from 0.8 to 0.6, so we'll still have a 0.6 special education counselor. I'm trying to make sure I get my points right here, so I keep looking at Mrs. Woods to make sure I have the numbers right so far. 0.6 special education counselor, 0.4 regular education school counselor to make a full-time employee. 0.6 local budget, district social worker, 0.4, special education district social worker. I think I get it.
Nailed it. Good
So,
job.
so just so I understand the language, when in the prior motion, we said reduce, meaning like they're gone.
Correct.
And then we say reduce again here, so I got the inference that there was a 0.2 position that is no longer there.
So the first one is reducing the actual positions.
But it was actually a 0.8
The second-
position, there was never a 0.2 position, right?
The second is a partial
Should
part
we-
of the position.
Should we just reword it as to change a 0.8?
We can, yeah,
Or, it doesn't matter to me, you know what you're doing when we get this done.
yeah. As long as everybody knows what they're voting on, I guess is the more important thing, and I can make sure that in the minutes, it reflects it the right way. But what we are doing is we are moving our 0.8 position to a 0.6 position for the special education counselor and creating a 0.4 school counseling position to make a full-time employee.
On number 5, can we put in adjust instead of reduce?
But we get the wording.
Let him put it in the meeting minutes.
Okay.
I think if we all understand, there wasn't a 0.2 person that is now
Right.
with us, it is, it's,
0.8
we're moving some stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of this, we will have 2 full-time employees. Between the two, there'll be 1 full-time employee in special education and 1 full-time employee in regular education, split between 2 people. Does that make sense?
The funding coming from various
From the
sources.
various
Funding's
sources,
coming
yeah.
from, yeah.
What the big thing here in terms of the revenue side is our ratios on the EPS formula stay exactly the same as they are right now. So we are adding a school counselor without changing what the EPS formula says we have for school
That's a
counselors.
perfect summary.
Yeah,
That's, yeah,
that-
good job.
Which is what's really important.
It is.
Yeah.
That's,
And this
that's
leads to-
always been
we
the
don't wanna be
problem with
penalized.
guidance, has been the EPS.
Penalized.
Yeah, and this leads to greater support at the younger levels.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's so important, yeah.
And it's, when it says school counselor, that, Mrs. Woods was all, have really worked hard on identifying what that's gonna look like. It's not a special UA that's just gonna be plugged in that every kid's gonna get and they rotate through. We're gonna target topics, classes, grade levels, and contour it to the person's schedule and what they need, that the students need for support. So, it really, I think we found the best way to be able to add this to students without impacting the budget or our revenue side.
That sounds really positive.
I move to accept these considerations.
We have a motion,
I'll second that.
we have a second, all those in favor? That's unanimous, thank you.
And you won't have any nominations for those positions because we have existing people right here, and I will just be doing internal transfers into those spots. Sarah Bissonette and Heather Lyons are people that have worked for us last few years in these spots. I will just be transferring them into those positions.
Consideration to create a 0.6 FTE board certified behavior analyst position for this district.
Okay, more shell games here. And again, this is gonna be extremely beneficial to the district. So currently, we have a 0.4 FTE special education position that we did not fill this year. That came from the year prior when we had a split for a title teacher that was part-time title, part-time special education. It's really hard to fill a 0.4 FTE teaching position. But we had one of our teachers, Katie Niels, that became a board certified behavior analyst this year. The coursework has been a phenomenal special education teacher for us. Previously, Michelle Taylor, if you remember, was our BCBA that was in the Educational Service Center. She moved on from us, wasn't with us this year, so we've been paying contracted services for people outside to do all of this work for us. We paid for all of that through local entitlement, that contracted service. What we are going to do is, the problem is we have to schedule, we have to wait for other people that don't know our students, don't know our staff, and we're kind of at their mercy. We now have someone that is certified, we know is really good, knows our students and is in district and will work to our schedule and not their schedule. So we're gonna move 0.6 of her to become a BCBA And then the other 0.4 will be that existing unfilled special education teaching position. So still will be a special education teacher at the Miles Lane, still heavily involved in our behavior room at MLS, but we'll also be able to do BCBA work for the district. So that's local entitlement money that was contracted services now in the regular budget as a BCBA. When we fill that with this position, we are moving an ed tech position, an ed tech 1, which we can do, into local entitlement to balance the monies out. So this is a wash in terms of money, but it is a new position that we have to create that I could transfer somebody into. If that makes
And
sense.
our students will be better served by this.
Students will be served first, it'll cost us less money than what we're paying for contracted services. We're gonna get more out of our money for it. And when we say 0.6, it's 1 week it might be 0.6, and next week it might be 0.2, right? Because they have to do more teaching stuff. The next week they may be doing more BCBA stuff. I mean, we have some flexibility there because it's our person and someone that we know will do a good job.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I move to accept this consideration.
We have a motion, we have a second, all those in favor? That is unanimous, thank you. Next, we have staff recognition of service.
Mrs. Hall is going to be doing this presentation. She did this last year. Are you connected to the?
Yeah, I wanted to.
Yeah. It was very well received. She actually, if you remember, she went through the entire district and did layers of service, and it was really neat to see the number of staff members that we have that have been here for a long time. She did that same presentation at the beginning of the school year to our opening assembly. And again, I think the staff felt like just being recognized, hey, people are looking out that I've been here for 20 years, for 25 years, for 30 years. So she is turning this into an annual recognition, and she is changing it slightly so that it's not recognizing every single person. But I'll let her explain kind of what she's done. Turn it over.
Thanks, Josh. So first of all, I'll just publicly want to go on record that the month of May, early in the month of May, is Educator Appreciation Week. So I do want to just make it known how much I appreciate our entire staff. That includes everyone, our educators, our custodians, our kitchen crew, our central office crew. So we just have an incredible team in our district, and I feel very, very fortunate to work here and get to work alongside all of them. So I think it's important for us to take a moment to recognize that. And so along with that, as Josh was mentioning, we started this last year, and you got to sit through, I went through the entire, and I might have made a couple of errors, that's a lot of people to go through, but with the help of Katie Gorley, Katie Hodgins, and Sue Bennett, I went through all of the staff that we have in their date of hires and created a presentation just recognizing folks that had been with us for at least 15 years. And then my plan moving forward after that year was to just recognize on those 5-year increments. So this is much shorter, so I'll only be up here for a few minutes. But I do think it is important to be sure that we recognize people that give a lot of their life and a lot of their time to our district specifically. So these folks have been in education longer than this, most likely, but their service to our district is outstanding. So really quickly, I will just recognize, so reaching a 5-year level is Bonnie Simcoe, 45 years of service to RSU 25 specifically. Ms. Simcoe has been an elementary teacher for us and then has spent the majority of her time that she's been with us in Title I services, mostly reading recovery for first graders, also does small group interventions for us. So I just want to celebrate Bonnie. And then at the 35-year mark, so no one was at the magic 40 yet, but at the 35-year mark, we have Kathy Andrews, speech pathologist, who you heard her name just a little bit ago about retiring.
Yes, but.
Yeah. 35 years, we still work, still keeping but amazing. Kathy Andrews is our speech pathologist, does a lot of our speech evaluations. Just a very valuable member of our team. And if you spent any time with Kathy Andrews, she's a lovely lady, caring, thorough. I could go on and on, but I told her to keep it short. And then also 35 years of service is Liz Townsend, one of our ed techs, who's currently working at the high school, correct? Yes, I'm looking at my high school folks. I don't get to spend as much time with our special education ed techs as I do other folks. So when we can recognize them, I really want to recognize them. I think Liz has been at the high school for all 35 years.
She was one of my
That's
teachers.
amazing, right? So, and if you think, I mean, we have a lot of, our sped ed techs move around a lot, and they're just super flexible, and they work really hard for us, but Liz has been at the high school for that long, so that's amazing. So thank you to Liz Townsend for her.
She's retiring at the end of this.
Yes, she is retiring, yeah. But definitely.
For real, yes.
For real, yeah, she's probably not doing her. Maybe we get her stuff. Anyway, so 30 years of service to RSU 25 is Sylvia Farrell, who is an elementary teacher at Miles Lane School. So she hit that 30-year mark this spring. And then 25 years, Ginny White, who is retiring, yes, Josh? Yes. High school teacher, who has worked a long time for us. And then Katie Gorley, our business manager, has worked in our district for 25 years, and she's done a variety of things. She's been in ed tech, she's done some subbing, she's been in ed tech, she's worked in the technology department, and has been our business manager for years now. It's longer than that then.
Yeah.
I don't, time
Like
just
8 or
kind of
9
goes, like, but thank you to Katie for all of the time she has given to our district. And then at 20, the 20 number, we have Jen Bowden, who is our, she was a special education teacher for us and is now our assistant special ed director. And Kathy, who's in the room, Kathy Pelletier, adult ed director, 20 years of service to our district. Thank you, Kathy. Another very pleasant lady that I get to spend some time with. And then Barb Shields, 20 years of service, started out with us as an ed tech in the special education department, became a special education teacher, and is now one of our general elementary ed teachers at Miles Lane School. So 20 years of service so far. And then 15, and this is as low as I go, right? 15 years of service is Shelley Allen, our occupational therapist, who works through our related services and special education department. Shelley has been here with us for that long. She works among multiple buildings. Sometimes I see her at Miles Lane. I know she works at a little bit at Miles Lane, middle and high school. Thank you, Shelley. And then Tina Monreal, who is currently serving as an administrative assistant in our adult ed department. She's been on this for 15 years, so lots of time in our district. And so I do want to take a moment. And I will share this presentation at the opening day in August as well and present my certificates of appreciation. Thank you for letting me do that. I think it's super important to recognize our folks.
Thank you. I love that.
Do you want this for Sean?
I'll keep it on.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we've got administrator report from Mrs. Dickey.
So Mrs. Dickey and Mr. Shorey are gonna be presenting, and Abby kind of talked about it a little bit, about what was presented on the curriculum circuit, and just some changes in terms of addressing their tier 3 status up in this room. This one's.
Thanks,
This is Erin's picture. Thank you so much.
So, BMS is a CSI Tier 3, which is a comprehensive school improvement school. We're state identified for math, chronic absenteeism, and reading, and kind of in that order. We're having a real hard time with the chronic absenteeism. We keep sending things out like that. This year we had $45,192 assigned to us to spend, and we've been in CSI Tier 3 since 2018. So all the things that we've been doing aren't quite enough. So I brought some teammates and we went to a conference, and there were 3 different panels, and we had 27 schools that had exited this year. Were up sharing what they did to get out of CSI Tier 3. So We listened at all the panels, took notes, and then we compared all of our notes to see what we felt was the most important things so that we could get rid of this designation. And so we had 3 takeaways overall. We have other little various things that we're doing, little book clubs and things like that, but specialized teachers was one of the most important ones that we found. Taking our team teachers, like right now we have 5th grade team of ELA and math, ELA and social studies, and then math and science. So we have the 2 pairs. So when the 4th graders come up, they have that to make it a little bit easier for them. Well, the research is showing that if the teachers have just their one subject, they're better at it and they can differentiate. So then they have their one prep period where they can use that time to meet the kids' needs in that one subject instead of trying to do 2 subjects during their prep. Also, well, you have this sheet too. This is all my research. I spent a lot of time researching it to make sure I agreed with what all those people said. So there's links which I can give you digitally if you want, and just a lot of information in there. The next one is the rotating schedule, which you have copies of. The first page is quarter 1, the second page is quarter 2, and then on and on. This, each quarter, we're gonna rotate just the core classes. So UAs, lunch, the buck time, which we're rebranding, but I'll explain that in a minute. We'll rotate just 1 quarter. So if you have math last, and you're tired every single day at the end of the day, or you're in sports and so you're leaving early, you're not gonna miss math the whole year. You'll only miss it for that quarter if that happens. And then the next quarter, you'll have it first thing in the morning, and it just rotates up. So if you struggle in math or ELA or whichever one it was, it will rotate so you're not always having it. We have chronic lateness too. So this will really help our chronic lateness. I'm jumping ahead. Here's our specialized teachers. There's our rotating schedule. So we have just chronically tardy students, and we have like schedule changes mid-year because of this, which is really hard on everyone. So that if they're late all the time, we have to switch them to a different homeroom, so next time they're not missing math the whole year, because we can't change that. The athletes, the students, and then medication that wears off at the end of the day. That's another one we see. So we have parents asking to switch kids so that they can maybe not have math or reading last, maybe it's social studies or whatever it is, so that they're not really struggling in that class. And our last one is student choice, and you have those letters also in here. These are examples of what we're thinking of sending out. So I checked with curriculum, and all students have to have 1 year of art, or the full year of art each year, the full year of PE, and a half of the year of health. So we have so many UAs to choose from that if the students have choice, they're just gonna be better behaved, be happier, and not have to miss out on anything. So right now, we have a lot of students maybe going to Spanish because that's what we offer for 7th and 8th grade, and they may not wanna go. So when they get there, maybe they're not behaving or paying attention or putting in effort. Maybe they don't care about Spanish. Then we have students who want music, but they are in Spanish and they wanna be in music, and instead, that's just what we offer because we're trying to fit it all in. So if the kids want to do something for a career and they want to be in the applied learning lab, they can sign up for that. And if they don't want to, because we have students who, want to wear gloves when they have to touch anything, and I'm not that far from there, honestly, but I will. But, it's just kind of like you just don't necessarily want to get all dirty and whatever and go out in the tick-infested woods, and others that really do. So they'll sign up for that if they want it, and we just want to make everybody happy, and you'll do better if you're doing something you like, more invested. So we have 275 students. We really want to get out of tier 3. We want to reach more of the children's needs.
Yes, we do.
We want higher quality instruction, which this shows that we could get that with our specialized teachers, more student engagement with choice, and the other thing was impactful relationships. So when the 5th graders come in, that instead of having 2 homeroom teachers, if they go to all 4 and they all have different personalities, they might find one that they just really click with a little bit better. And so we're kind of hoping that that will help with some of our other issues that we had. I think that's it. Student choice. Thank you. Do you have any questions?
So I'm really interested in the student choice part, because this has been kind of a thing that has been kind of, the way that the schedule works in the middle school has always been kind of a challenge. And so years ago, it was if you were in the music, you didn't have math at all for the entire year.
Yeah, that's how my son was in middle school. He got pulled out of math class to go to music.
Yeah, we stopped that when Aaron was principal.
Like I said, this was years ago. But
So we have a block that's just UA, which you'll see like on the schedule. And the kids will have, like each grade will have a block or their UA at the same time. And then if they choose what they want, and we'll sit down and put them in classes, then they get to be what they want to be in. Some kids really love art and really love PE and wish that was all they could take, but they have to take health. And so they're gonna still take health. But then they may also want IT. And some people want just IT, what they have to have, which is basically we're giving them just a half of a year, 1 semester of IT. But if they want extra, we can put extra in their schedule if they want it, because there's so much to do in IT. But we really have to have that digital citizenship part, so that's why we're.
And it says right on there that you might not get your choices.
Yes.
Like
Yeah.
we're asking them for their.
But I think that's an exciting change.
Yes.
It is very
Great
exciting.
idea, yeah.
Because if somebody doesn't want to go to Spanish, why make them go to Spanish? That's not a requirement. And on the other flip side, if they are very excited about Spanish, let them take Spanish.
You're clearly not related to my wife.
Well, I get Spanish for free from her.
They're really at an age in middle school where they're wanting the chances to practice that independence too, so.
Yeah, and that's the other
That
thing. When
to
you
them.
have choice, when you have control over something,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
it changes your demeanor. And that's throughout
Absolutely.
all stages of life, really.
Absolutely, yeah, I think it's a great way to work with them, honestly.
I also like the part about building relationships within the classroom with those core teachers. And also putting the teachers that, I assume if I understood it correctly, the teachers that have potentially more skill in a particular core area, those are the teachers that are gonna be teaching the majority of the content. And I think that totally makes sense, because not all of us are strong in all of the same things.
He loves math and I love reading. And so like the kids that would come to my class, I'd get them all excited about reading, and then if I had to teach math, I'd be like, it's black and white, I don't understand what you don't understand, right? Like, it's so fun. So
It's
I
nice
think
that-
that's part of it, I really think.
And these other districts that had success with this model of exiting, and honestly, it kind of makes sense.
And we've never tried anything like this.
Yeah,
Really,
no.
it seems like, I mean, I haven't been around forever, but you two have.
Scott's been
Scott
around
has.
longer.
It's been around.
I mean, I've been around a while at this
No.
point, but
I think that it's
it's
Good thing to
exciting.
try.
I think
Yep.
it's something to try, yeah.
Thank you.
And they put a lot of thought into this. This isn't just, as you can see, I mean, it's very detailed here. I'll be honest, I tried to poke holes in the choice thing pretty heavily, just because having created high school schedules, I just understand some of the
It's gonna be
challenges
a
that
lot of
go
work.
along with having school choice, and the problem with the middle school is it's all happening at the same time. It's not, like, music isn't being offered all 8 periods like it is at, or Spanish at the high school. You have multiple chances to get them in here. And they were able to, no, we have a plan for that, and we have a plan for this. And they're very clearly saying it's limited choice. Like, there are gonna be people in Spanish, right? And you may not get your,
Might not get your
top
first choice.
2 choices,
Second
but
choice.
we're gonna really hard to get your choice 1. So Again, I tried really hard to poke as many holes in it as I could, and they thoroughly thought this out, and I'm excited. I think it
Oh,
is
this
certainly
makes sense to
worth
me.
the show.
My daughter's going into 7th grade, she's gonna be excited to see this letter show up and get to, get to make those choices.
I'm very impressed that you did something that actually is so simple. You went and found out what other people are doing.
Yes.
It's working. It's kind of like, yeah, but you did it.
It's
And
great to have, I mean, this conference was the best one I've been to yet, especially out of tier 3, because that's, that's a rough group, I guess.
It also feels like our coach is actually showing up to meetings and doing things, whereas previous years, I'm not sure that was always the case.
You're right, Erin didn't have one.
Yeah, like there was a coach,
Never
but
met.
me, you never see that person, so it
the
was,
door right
I mean, I think everything's kind of coming together and I think it's exciting.
It's exciting that 27 districts got out this last year.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a lot.
and maybe it's because the state finally gave them coaches.
We have
after saying it would.
We have $160,000, I was shocked, dollars. Because those 27 people are out, our $45,000 popped up to $160,000 to spend on professional development alone. So I'm like, oh, we need to hire a coach and we need to, like, my brain's like all over the place.
So that's been the best part. So Beth leaving and still undertaking this
Yeah,
like
like,
project has just been incredible.
I do have a.
You don't have a problem. She's just been so wonderful to work with, and yeah, so
Andy,
very
we'll
much
invite her back
appreciate
next
your
year.
statements. Huh?
We'll invite her back to celebrate what we
Yeah,
want.
we talked about her coming back to sub.
Fly me and also if you
Yeah.
want to go on vacation. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
Yes,
presentation.
it's a lot of great work.
Yeah.
It's very just
Yeah.
the data, the research.
That's really
I'm
awesome.
excited, I think we really could get off.
Yeah.
Yeah, this feels like a step in the right
Yeah,
direction.
it does.
Now it's time for calendar and announcements. Josh, would you be kind enough to listen?
Yes, so our traditional ones committee meetings, so June 4th, curriculum committee,
Maybe.
maybe, there's a good chance of that. A lot of these will not happen just because of the timing of this week is really brutal. So, policy meeting we have on there, we do not plan on meeting unless something comes up. But the plan is to not have that meeting, but I will email folks if we're going to. Finance committee, we will meet 5:30 here on the 16th. School board meeting on June 16th. Facilities, that is on June 11th. As of right now, that is still a go. Graduation is June 5th. If you plan on being at graduation, could you please let Mr. Ward know if you haven't already, if you plan on being there. It is gonna be indoors. Tom, we know you're gonna be there. You don't have to. But we'll have a section with you over with the staff, but we just wanna have a sense of how many people that are gonna be there to make sure.
Is this gonna be at the Klein Auditorium, or is it gonna be at the high school?
High school, do I have it at Klein Auditorium?
Yeah.
Foxborough High School.
Oh.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's not enough seats there, buddy.
Sorry, no, that is gonna be a BHS, not Klein Auditorium.
Clarified.
Right.
And it's definitely indoors.
Yeah, it is definitely indoors, yes. The academic banquet is a week from tomorrow on May 27th. If you have not let Sue know that you plan on attending, please do so immediately so that, because we need numbers for food, chairs, tables, assignments and stuff. So we need to know if you are coming and how many people are coming. Administrators are looking to you other dates that you need board members for end of year stuff. When I glanced through, I couldn't think of anything. We have lots of interviews still going on. We have interviews for the next 2 nights. I know lots of you folks are there. And then we still have a few more positions that we will need folks for.
I'll just keep you guys posted, and we can try to send out an email to all of you in the evening. Great.
Graduation academic class night will be that Wednesday. I don't have that on here. That's the 3rd. That is at 6 o'clock, Aaron. Class night for scholarships.
I got 2 to hang there.
We'll have to see for you there. Other than that, I mean, that one, we do not need to know from you specifically if you're gonna be there, because there's plenty of space. But it is a whirlwind of activity over the next 3.5 weeks, we appreciate.
With all the sporting,
Yeah, it's just, so, I mean, there's just a good chance a lot of these committee meetings, unless there's something pressing that needs to happen, for everybody's sanity, and mental capacity, there's a good chance that we could just be postponing those to July, and then we'll have those meetings then.
Makes sense.
Also, there's a band concert in the middle school on Thursday.
It's fine.
Yes.
And then a band.
We're not
for the high
busy
school
at this
next
time of
week.
year all.
28.
That's-
Yeah, elementary functions Wednesday night.
What time?
Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday, Thursday.
6:30? Okay, I only have that straight up.
Lots of stuff, all good stuff, good things, but it's just,
A lot.
it's that time of year.
I love
where-
I love it.
They call it Maysember now. That's the new term.
I would look for a motion to adjourn.
I
So
would make a
moved.
motion to adjourn.
You wanna take a second, or?
Second.
We got a motion and a second. All those in favor? That's a wrap. Thank you.